Hey folks, how you doing? Papa Joe here. We are continuing with our phone conversations with folks, trying to educate everybody coming into the industry. If y'all remember, we had a interview with Cal a few weeks back. He was in school at that time. He now has been out with a trainer for 12 days. He's got another week to go. And we have him and his wife, Jessie, online. And we're going to just see how they're both adapting over to his new choice of careers. Hey, folks, thanks for joining in tonight on this. Thank you much.
Yeah, no problem.
So, Cal, let's start with you, buddy. You been out there. You started in the beginning of winter. So, what are your thoughts at this time? Any regrets?
No, I don't really have any regrets.
Okay. What is different from what you was expecting? Is it all what you was expecting, or has it thrown you a curveball?
It's definitely throwing me a curveball. Definitely. Just some things like going from training from Appleton, where I went to school, to real life trucking.
Right.
Having to deal with people on the road and different backing situations and shipping and receiving yards.
Well, it's definitely different on your backing than what they taught you, huh?
Yeah, this time it's not in between cones. It's actual real deal stuff there.
Yeah, that you can tear up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and it ain't always just that out and open or easy to do deal.
No. I've actually had some really easy backs.
Cool, that'll change.
I've also had a couple difficult backs. So, and then my trainer just pretty much let me do it, and she was gonna let me know to stop.
Right.
But she has never had to tell me to stop.
Right, and you ain't hit nothing yet.
Nope.
Don't worry, that'll change too. Rubbing is racing. Oh, wait a minute, we're trucking. I forget that once in a while. You ain't supposed to put the NASCAR move on them. Well, Jessie, how are you holding up so far, dear?
Well, it's been a struggle trying to adjust to all of the stuff here at home and with the kids. It's been a struggle, and to try to get used to him not being here. Right now, I'm very thankful that we're able to do video chat.
Right.
And this week we can actually see him, and he can see the kids. I know it's been really hard on the kids. We have young kids. Our son will be 3 in December, and our daughter will be 4 in January. And they miss their daddy, and our daughter is a daddy's girl.
Right.
And it's hard when she's asking for daddy, and mommy is all that's here. So it's been a struggle to try to adjust everything, but I know this is the hardest part of this journey right now, because he has to be away to do this training, and he can't come home in between because of where he's at right now.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, right. Eventually he'll be home on weekends, but right now
Right.
you're just having to tough it out, and now you're getting a good dose. Now I know you're from a trucking family, so
Yep.
you've understood because you've had to live part of it, but now you're going from that child that was living it to the wife that's living it, so you're getting an idea of what mama had to put up with and
Yep.
she had to deal with. So
Yep.
in the long run, it always works out. It definitely, I've told y'all before, the driving industry, I think, at one time, it might still be, has the highest divorce rate of any industry out here, and you're getting a good dose why right now. And,
Right.
you know, you're going to, and you both have to go through the gauntlet. You know, you're going to go through that deal where everything's put on me, blah, 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 pity party, the whole routine. And Cal's going to go through the same thing out there. You know, he's going to be beating himself up because he's not there when you're at the toughest times, when you got this stuff to deal with. And that's something that you both have to realize and keep into your conversation when you're talking. Because remember, not only is it tough on you, it's tough on the other one. It's really hard on the drivers out here to not be home and help and take care of stuff. It ain't as easy as folks think. So.
No, it's not. I mean, just being this early on in my career, it's pretty difficult.
Right.
And you almost have to have a lot of trust on the other partner too.
Oh, you got to have a lot. Now, fortunately, you two discuss this. We've been communicating since before you went to school, and I know you two discussed it. And when you was checking stuff out, she was right there by your side, checking it out with you, so she knew what you both thought you knew what you was getting into. So, and that's something that I really preach to anybody that's coming into the industry, as you're finding out, the both of you, is not only does it change your lifestyle, it's changing your families, your immediate family. If I understand correctly, you're still tight with your mom and stepdad and your mother-in-law. So, you know, these people are being affected not only by you being gone, but by them wanting to help out with the wife and the grandchildren, you know. So it's really more than a one-person decision. If you make it a one-person decision, you're being very selfish, which I know y'all didn't, but I'm saying that for anybody watching this. So.
And that's where a lot of your divorce is going to come into play too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So. Now, my wife and I, it wasn't Grandma that I'm with now. It was a different woman. We thought that we knew what I was getting into, and boy, did we get a rude awakening. And back then, we didn't have all this modern technology. Stop and use a phone booth. So, well, Cal, let's talk a little bit about what you've been getting into.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, buddy. Now, we talked earlier, and you're supposed to be making a list. Let's talk about reefers. You're in the reefer unit. So, are you having any issues running the reefer? Are you the one that's running it?
Honestly, I'm with my trainer, and she's a dry van operator. So, when I get to my rig or my unit, I'm going to have a little crash course training when I get the trailer.
Okay, so
And
you're pulling a dry box right now.
Right.
All right.
Yep.
What all does she have you doing? She have you communicating with the company, the shippers, receivers? Are you getting to do everything, so you're being taught everything?
As of right now, I've been going in and out of the shipping and receiving, talking with them, handling the paperwork, doing the macros on the truck PC. Some cases, some people call them the Qualcomms and whatnot.
Right.
Just doing all the kind of paperwork in the truck with your trip sheets and your mileage and your fueling and just kind of all that stuff.
Well, actually, that's good, dude. I've talked to so many where it's easier for the trainer to just do it. So they just do it instead of teaching the student how to do it. So it's really encouraging hearing that she's going through this, making you go through the steps of learning how to do it. So it sounds like you might have a real trainer. So.
Well, Boy, do I ever.
Well, she might be as hard as I was on mine. I don't know. No sugar added in my truck. No.
No.
Uh,
I mean, hands down, I mean, she's doing a very good job. I mean, she's being very professional. Very.
Now, are you driving an automatic, a 10-speed? What kind of transmission you got?
I am driving a 10-speed manual.
Okay. And how are you doing on that?
My upshifting and downshifting is really good.
Okay, and has she helped you with any of it? Is there anything she's been having to throw you little hints about on hills or anything at all?
When I was going through southern Ohio and Kentucky last week, I was struggling with some of the hills. She just say, hey, you might want to drop a gear or two. Okay. And that was just about it.
Okay, so you was lugging it down is what you was doing.
Yeah.
The rule on that you need to learn to go by is whenever that truck starts pulling down to the RPMs that would be the top for your next lower gear, you change out. And what you was doing there is most drivers' biggest mistake is they wait too long to shift out. When they downshift, then the truck goes into lugging on that gear. So you damn near should have dropped 2 gears. So all you need to do right there, brother, is start downshifting a little bit earlier. Be comfortable with your downshifting and downshift a little bit earlier, and you'll take care of that problem.
And then the other thing too is watching your speed. You know, if you're in 10th gear and your speed is at roughly 45 miles an hour, you should probably downshift to 9th gear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so on, so on.
Now, are you learning to listen to the truck? Is the truck telling you when you're needing to change these gears and stuff?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't even think I've really even looked at the RPMs going through my upshifting.
That's good. That's good. And if you're listening to that truck, it'll tell you when to, that's why I tell you it's like dancing. You know, it'll tell you when to make the next step. No.
Yep.
No. Well, I know Jesse's on here, and I don't want to leave her out, so I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between y'all. Well, Jesse, how are you dealing with the issues that you're finding? Missing Jim, missing Cal, and I know you'll never forgive me on that one.
Maybe it'll just be a new nickname for me.
Right? No, you don't want that nickname. Not unless you can bounce off the walls. So, and he'll listen to this, and I'll be getting a phone call from him. So, but Jesse, how are you dealing with the issues that you're coming across? Anything that you'd like to share with us?
Well, when I get overly stressed, just being, well, actually, if you think about it, I'm actually a single parent when he's not here.
Yep.
Because I'm the only one that's, here to do things. I find that gets hard because the kids really push their boundaries, trying to see how far they can get mom to break. And it's been a struggle with, I deal with migraines 3 to 4 a week. And so it's been quite a struggle. Thankfully, I have an amazing mom. And she's been nice helping out where I can go to her house and I will be able to lay down a little bit and she'll watch the kids.
Right, that's good to have backup.
And it's just nice too because I'm coming from a trucking family. My dad was a truck driver. And my brother is a truck driver. And then I had an uncle and a grandpa that were truck drivers. So, this isn't something that's new to me at all.
Right.
And Kale also comes from a family that his dad was a truck driver and his brothers are truck drivers, so this is kind of in his blood.
Right. Right.
And knowing,
go ahead.
We spent a year, actually probably more than a year talking about this and bouncing the ideas back and forth and really sitting down and having heart-to-heart talks about it, whether it was a good decision for our family or not.
Right.
And we also did include our immediate family as to their opinions, and it's been really nice. So when I have struggles with the kids, I can call my mom or his mom because they can relate and they're able to help me through this being alone with the kids.
Right. It gets a little overwhelming. Even though you're from a trucking family, once you actually start living the lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle for you, like you said, you're basically a single mom now, which I know he hates hearing that, but it's the truth. No sugar added. And it's a lot different from seeing mom go through it, sister-in-law, everybody else go through it. Now that you're actually doing it, is it changing your views? How should I say this? How is it now? How are you seeing it now compared to what you've seen before he actually took off to start this adventure?
Well, I think back to when I was younger, I went trucking with my dad. So I know I spent a month every summer in the truck with my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad was a owner-operator and stuff. And so I was able to actually, for a month every year, basically live the lifestyle that my dad was doing. So I know to an extent what Kale is going through out there. So it makes things that, I mean, I have a little bit of an insight on what he's going through.
Right.
But at the same time, he is also a family man, and he loves his wife and kids.
Right.
And I know this is something that he's doing to better himself, but also to provide for our family. And I honestly couldn't ask for, a better man. And he's got my support 100%, and I will be here. And when things do get tough, we call and talk to each other. And the best thing that I know, and I would tell anybody, the best thing to do is communicate.
Yes, ma'am. You said a mouthful there.
Well, and the thing is, too, text messages aren't a good idea because you don't know how somebody takes something. So when we do a video chat, we can kind of hear the tone of voice and everything.
Right.
But, just the changes.
Right.
The communication is the ultimate key to this, and also, the trust in your partner.
Yep. Well, and like you said on the text messaging, that's good. Send a simple little "I love you" or "I'm gonna be gone" or whatever. But there's too many times, and I find myself guilty myself, not only with my wife, but with anybody. You actually read an attitude into their words when you're reading it in your mind, and then when you call and talk to them, you find out it ain't really there. So yeah, text messaging is good, but the phone conversations and the video chatting, that's even better. Especially with the little monkeys, and I call all kids monkeys, so don't get offended. That way he can see them bouncing off the walls and driving you crazy, and they get to see Daddy and show off for him a little bit and show him that headstand that knocks everything off the coffee table. All the good stuff that monkeys do,
Well, their favorite thing is to actually take and make funny faces with Dad. So.
Well, that's an easy one for him. I've seen him. Oh, he should win that one hands down. Hey, somebody got to pick on him. You won't. So I'm good at it. All right, Cal, what else you want to share with everybody for your point of view?
Being in different time zones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That affects your body and your communicating.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, right now I'm only an hour away from home, or an hour difference.
Right.
Home. Like right now it's 7:45 where I'm at, and it's 6:45 your time.
Right.
So, and it's, you got to be able to know what time you can call.
Yep.
If they're in bed or waking up.
Yep.
Or supper time or something like that.
And you're already learning that ELD, that electronic clock, it controls your world. So now you have to try to make them phone calls fit into the ELD world. Let's talk about that story was talking about this morning. Your what was it, yesterday? Go ahead and start telling them a little bit about that. Do you know what one I'm talking about? Yeah.
The 6-hour wait time.
Oh, yeah, to get into the dock, yeah.
The day before we had the delivery, we had to, our delivery time was 0100. And it just started snowing and sleeting and just having some really, really bad weather. My trader's fleet manager said, we'll swing by the terminal and we'll figure out a game plan. And then after the game plan was all figured out, they told us as soon as we get there and deliver, we would have priority over the other people that were there. As soon as we got to that receiving office, we checked in. Basically, the lady told us that you guys are late.
We'll work you in.
Unloaded sometime, and like that we had priority. And she's like, well, no, you guys are late, and now you guys can sit and wait.
Yeah, so, they call that working you in. We'll work you in.
Yeah. And by the time we hit the dock, it was like 6 hours before we actually hit the dock of waiting. So.
And then it took how long to actually get unloaded after you hit the dock?
About 3 hours.
So now you have 9 hours. Now go ahead and tell everybody what I told you and what you need to do next time. What did you do and what are you going to do the next time if possible?
Stop and take a reset right there.
And what he did, folks, what he did is they went ahead and pulled out. He had done burn up over 9 hours of his 14 just at that receiver. And I was telling him if at all possible, he should sit there and get that last hour or whatever it is, and get his 10-hour break in, which would give him a fresh 11 and 14 to take off on. Even if you have to be a little misleading and tell them you're already out of hours, and I need to sit here for another 40 minutes and stretch it out to an hour, whatever you got to do. Now, that circumstances won't always allow that. Sometimes you got to get that extra 2 hours down the road to pick up your load or whatever. So that don't always work. But you need, that's called time management. And you need to stop and figure out, can I go ahead and sit here another hour, give my 10-hour break in, have a fresh start, and grab it and go. And sometimes you might not have got to rest during all that 9 hours. So if you're too tired, you got to take that into consideration as well. So, but it's a time management thing, and that's what everybody needs to look at when you're in that situation. So, what?
and really that was an eye-opener for me.
Right.
I mean, not knowing what to expect, and then all of a sudden that happens, and like, well, shoot, what do I do?
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's something your recruiter told you about, right? That you'd
Nope,
get to
not
set there. Really? They would be misleading about that? Well, dadgum. That's part of that 90% dropping hook right there. So.
I got you to say dang gum.
I think I've got it on a shirt. So, I know they was requesting that. So I don't know what all shirts that boy put up. What else can you share with people coming into the industry that you have found that you didn't expect, I guess I should say?
Just everyday situations. Every day is a new day.
Well, what about the driving in general? Is the traffic what you expected in a big truck, or is that a lot different, or what?
It's a little different. The difference between where I was at for my schooling and to real world out on the road is 100% different.
Right, and it's a lot different than being in your little car.
That's a given right there. Let's see, this whole past week I've been in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.
I'm sorry.
Hey, I will definitely say though Kentucky was pretty beautiful though.
Yeah.
For the most part, a lot of white picket fences.
Yep.
Horse facilities.
Some of them horse ranches are quite beautiful and well manicured.
It makes me want to have one.
Well, it makes me look at them and say, damn, their fences cost more than my house.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, just the traffic alone is completely different. Getting on and off the freeway is different every place you go. And especially if you're trying to stop for the day and you got everybody rushing to go find a parking spot, you got to deal not only with the small cars, you got to deal with all the other big trucks too.
Right.
And in these truck stop parking lots.
Well, and
some of those parking spots are not very big.
Something I would encourage is that as your little monkeys get older, and any other children that you have riding with you, point this stuff out to them. Now, Jessie had the upper hand where she got to ride around with Daddy as a youngin', and I'm sure she heard him discussing traffic conditions with individuals. They might not have heard him because he was talking through the window, but I'm sure it changed a lot of her driving habits. I just heard somebody have a blowout. I'm sure it changed. I shouldn't say changed, because if she went out as a youngin', she wasn't driving yet. But it helped to create some of the driving habits that she has. So if any children and anybody that you have, if you will communicate with them when you're around trucks and educate them so that they have a clue, you know? So that'll go a long way to helping educate the public around trucks, because the general public, as you're finding out, you're probably looking at trucks and traffic a lot different than you did a year ago. So.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, just for an instance of walking through a truck stop parking lot.
They'll run over you.
Only walk. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be able to see them in that seat, and they need to see you where you're at.
You need to make eye contact, yes. And as you grow in the industry, your babies will wind up going out with you. And one of the things that I taught my children to do is for when they're walking, to walk out there holding one hand way up above their head, high stretched up there. It makes them taller. It makes them more visible. And also it's something odd. Something people ain't used to seeing. So it will bring attention to that child. And they'll say, why are they doing that? You know, but it brought their attention. They see the child. So it's just a little safety thing you might want to try to remember and have your youngins doing when they're out with you.
Well, and another thing too is it goes back to that old rule with the school bus.
Yeah.
You know, if you have to cross the road to get onto the school bus, you need to be out X amount of feet in front of that school bus so people can see you.
Very true. Well, Jesse, I don't want to leave you out there. What can you throw in on any of this? Or even on your, even if it ain't what him and I talking about, what else can you add to the video for folks?
Well, the other thing I can recommend is something that I did as far as wanting a little bit more insight and support. I actually found a support group for trucker wives. So I'm actually able to use that and talk with other
That's really cool.
other wives and girlfriends that are in the same boat, and it's just really nice to have them where they're able to understand what I'm going through or how tough the situations are, because they're in the exact same situation. So having a support system outside of your family is also a good idea, because these people are living that right now.
Right. See, now I never thought about that. I'm not surprised that it's out there, but I never thought about that. That's a good one right there.
And it's given me a lot of insight, and it's just I want to say that it's that, and then it's also, you know, they can
relate.
They can ask a question like, "This is what's going on with my child. They're missing daddy. What can you do in this situation?"
Right.
And it's just nice to have that.
That camaraderie, that fellowship.
Exactly. And then,
Yep,
and then it's nice too, because it's you don't have to worry about, when I get angry and frustrated because Chael isn't here, I can vent there, and I don't have to, because it's not at him. It's just frustrated with the situation that.
Right.
It seems that everything happens to go wrong when he's away.
Yep.
So it makes things a little bit complicated, but.
Yep. Well, and that's what.
I still.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't trade. I know this it wasn't an easy decision for him to make.
Right.
But I told him that, you know, I will stand behind you and support you through all of this, you know, and that's the best thing that I can do.
Right.
You know, it takes an amazing man to do this for his family, and I'm trying to be that strong wife that he needs, and, you know, that I'm able to take care of things here.
Right.
And not add any stress onto what he's already dealing with.
Well, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that, dear. But also, let me throw a little caution in there. I know it can be overwhelming and all that, but do not try to shoulder all the stuff and shelter him from it. That's going to hurt both of you. So make sure that you do confine in him and let him know what you are dealing with. You know, even if you tell him, all right, honey, Johnny flushed the hand towel down the toilet and I got to get a plumber. You know, don't go ahead and tell him, and I've got it handled. Just wanted you to know, you know. Or, you know, your paychecks was a little bit light. We're having difficulties with this bill. Make sure that you involve him and keep him informed on everything that's going on. And don't try to shelter him from, I know you said you didn't want to put any more stress on him than necessary, but don't let that become an issue either. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, and we actually had this conversation because I had asked him, I said, it began in his training, and I said, do you want me to tell you everything that's going here? Or do you want me, you just don't want to know? And he said, well, of course I want to know. And so it's one of those things, and I've never had, he's my rock.
Right.
And he's my best friend. So it's like, I go to him, first of all, because he's my husband.
Right.
But also because I know that he gets frustrated with himself and upset at times because he can't be here for us.
Right.
And it just so happened that his first week in training, I ended up getting the stomach flu. So I was down with 2 little kids, and then now just this past week, I had 2 kids down with the stomach flu. That's a hard thing to handle by yourself.
Yes, it is.
But having him saying, oh, I wish I was there, and, the thing is that knowing, I know that he would be here if he could.
Right.
And that's the thing, too, is that I think in this situation, it is so easy to take your spouse for granted, because I could look at my situation and say, I've got it the hardest because I'm here with the kids and have to do everything here. But at the same time, he's got it hard because he's trying to handle all the stuff out there, all the stress, all the idiot drivers that shouldn't be on the road, and he's got worrying about his wife and kids back home.
Right, and wishing he was there.
Family because he is a family man, and we both come from a tight family.
Right.
So it's not like, that's the one thing that everybody should look at is do not take your spouse for granted.
Yep.
And make sure, and I think Kale would say this too, something that I make sure that he knows. What, babe?
I said maybe. Just kidding. Kidding.
One thing that the one thing that I like to do is actually, I will send him a random text message and just say, remember that we love you and that we appreciate all the sacrifices that you're making for our family.
Right. Very nice.
It's something that I need to make sure because I know it's hard on him, and
right.
And I know that the biggest thing is that he loves us and he's trying to support us. So.
Well, and hopefully he sends one back telling you appreciate all you're going through for the family. So, well, folks, we're getting real close to that cutoff time. Is there anything that y'all can throw in rather quickly? We've got just a couple minutes here.
Hey, we should do a part 2 of this.
Well, we could if y'all got more you want to add on.
Oh, that don't matter.
Well, it's my whole thing is trying to help people coming into the industry where they don't come in blindsided. And with folks like y'all being open like this, it should hopefully help people. So, I'm all for it.
And I'm honored to share my story with you and your listeners and viewers.
Thank you.
I mean, this is not everybody would be doing this to other YouTubers and whatnot, saying, "Hey, let me tell my story on what I'm doing."
Right.
And follow me through my journey.
Right.
That's how I feel. I mean, this is a very difficult situation.
Yep.
As you said it before, I am definitely a family man. I love my family. I want to be there as much as I can, but...
And it's probably being a little harder on you than you thought, being away from them.
Oh.
It sounds easy, but it really ain't. If you really give a shit, it really ain't easy. Pardon my French. But you know what I
was
mean.
gonna say, hey, you swore.
Oh, yeah, somebody will tell me about it. Papa Joe cussed. Did you hear that?
It'll be probably JJ or Carlos or something, buddy.
Right. Well, folks, this thing's going to cut us off. I definitely do want to do a follow-up. It won't be tonight, but let's give it 2 or 3 weeks. You got what, another week with your trainer? Then how long you going to be at the company?
My agreement is 125,000 miles or 15 months.
No, I mean, you've got to go back to the company, to the yard for some more training and testing and whatnot. Is that just a day or two or a week or what?
That's just probably like 2 hours.
Okay.
2 hours.
Well, then when you've got 2 to 3 weeks out there on your own, call me back and remind me. Call me before that by all means, especially if you're having issues. But when you've got 2 or 3 weeks under your belt as a solo driver, excuse me, let's do this again with you and Jess so that we can touch base with her and see how she's progressing at home and dealing with it. And the same thing for you. We'll see how you're dealing with it. Fair enough?
I can make that happen.
Very good. Well, I want to tell both of y'all thank you very much. It is encouraging to hear from both of you on you have a realistic grip on what you're doing, and you are making it a family lifestyle and change here, and you both seem to have your eyes wide open. You both are acknowledging that it ain't as easy as you thought, but it is doable. And it sounds like overall you're both going to make this thing work for you. So thank you for sharing your stories, both of you.
You're welcome, Papa Joe.
All right, with that, folks, I am going to let these good people go. And I want y'all to know that this is real stuff. This is real live stuff. This is a man and a woman and their 2 children that have decided to come out here, or he's decided, they have decided for him to come out here. And you're getting a little dose of what it's really like. This ain't the recruiter stuff. This is real life stuff. This ain't TV sitcoms. This is real life stuff. So this is everything you're hearing is stuff you need to take into consideration before you make that final decision. And with that, I'm going to remind y'all, remember, the good Lord loves you, and so do we. Y'all have a good evening.